Hi, welcome back to the Technique series at Everyone Can Jam. This is a place where everyone can learn to play music. And one of the biggest things that creates that illusion, that some people can or some people can't is just technique. Some people naturally come to the guitar maybe with a bit better technique, maybe because of some past experience they've had, not necessarily with music, but just with certain things they do with their hands or don't do with their hands. One of the hardest things is it's not so much telling your hands what to do, but convincing your brain to not tell your hands to do something that you've already done certain motions a lot, and then when you go to use your hands they do something you're not really asking them to do. And if we don't have the awareness of what's happening, we can kind of miss that. So one thing I want to talk a lot about today is awareness. But let's look at the last thing we were working on and then just kind of go from there and talk about awareness a little bit. One thing we had been working on, I think the last thing we did was, sorry, I'm having trouble with the glare today. You never know. We were introducing pinky, and we talked about keeping pinky and ring finger close together. So we did an exercise where pinky and ring finger are close together, and then we did a chromatic from the third finger going down one fret at a time. When we start with third finger or with pinky and our wrist is nice and straight and we go down, we can do that without moving our wrist. So that's better than starting, if we start with index, there's a tendency to reach like that. So now we're going to ask a little bit more of the pinky. Let's just start on the first string, okay? And now we'll do this thing where every finger is assigned to a fret. Starting with index finger on 5th fret, and tall finger on 6th fret, third finger on 7th fret, and pinky on the 8th fret. But when you put your fingers out, start with pinky, okay? That way you can get your wrist aligned with your weak fingers and make them stronger. And you don't have to put them all down. You can just start with these two and then just lift pinky and go to ring finger. And then that's called a chromatic scale, going down one fret at a time. And just do how many strings are easy at first, because we're working on technique here. So if it becomes difficult, it might become a little more difficult when you get to the lower strings. Just do however many strings are easy. We're working on technique, so one of the ways to develop good technique is when you begin to practice, have a warm-up time and an exercise time. And this doesn't have to be a long time. Warm-up could be 3 minutes and exercises could be 3 minutes. But you want your warm-up to be something so easy that you don't have to think about which note to play when or get confused about which string you're on. You want it to be something easy is the main thing, so that you can focus on your technique and your awareness. And then something, when you're introducing a new skill, then that would be your exercise. First you do your warm-up, you're doing something easy and you're focusing on technique, or there might be something else you need to focus on while you play something easy. And then your exercises, a few minutes for when you're doing something a little more challenging. And then when that exercise becomes easy, you turn it into a warm-up. And this is a great way to develop new skill, to where the cool thing is it's like there's no music at stake. You may have heard me say this before. In order to play music, we have to practice motion. Practicing motion and playing music are two different things. So when we talk about warm-up and exercise, we're practicing motion. And that is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself, is just to gain that skill. And then when you are playing your music, we get more emotionally involved when there's a song at stake. And if we've spent a little time with our exercises and warm-ups, just practicing some motion, then we've given ourselves some skill and some technical ability and some good technique, which makes that whole process more fun. So spending a few minutes at the start of your practice can be a great way to develop your technique and your skill. So I used the word awareness. Let's talk about awareness a little bit. I think it's really important with guitar technique to not believe that there's one correct way to hold your guitar, not one correct position for your hand or your thumb, because every body is different. Just think about, there's mechanics involved. And think about, some people are 2 feet taller than me. Some people are a foot or two shorter than me. Some people have big long guitars. Some people have little bitty guitars. And there's all these different, and then there's other things. There may be injuries or arthritis. And let's just go back to something that kind of got us all together in the first place. My most popular video is the one about using the sides of our fingers for chords like C, F, and G7. I said something in that video I regret. I suggested keeping your elbow near your body, and that if you keep your elbow near your body, your fingers kind of naturally fall that way. And I think I said something about when the elbow's out, that's wrong. And I wish that I never used the word wrong. I try to avoid the word wrong because there's not a right or wrong that's always right or wrong. Well, because, like I said, everybody's different. Something I've noticed more lately, I'm pretty narrow in the shoulders, and a lot of people have similar mechanics to me, but if you get more broad in the shoulders, or big around in here, that makes a big difference. So imagine if my shoulder was more like out here, and my elbow would also be out more, right? And that would make a difference. Then my fingers might be coming in at a little bit different of an angle. So we just want to be aware. The principle here is we want to start with a body that's in good posture. We want to be relaxed, and we want to stray from that as little as possible. And we want to find motion that is as efficient as possible. So be observant of yourself and be aware of what you're doing. You might want to take a video of yourself. It's amazing how you cannot be aware of what you're doing. I recorded a lesson about how to hold the guitar, where I was sitting and holding the guitar, kind of like this. I'm standing right now. But then when I was practicing one time, I noticed I was holding my guitar like this. And that can be a really comfortable, handy thing sometimes. It kind of does the same thing for your hand as classical. This is more, I'm imitating a classical style. I'm standing. But there's times when having your neck like this, this can be a really good way to learn to play the guitar. I'm assuming I don't have to explain classical technique, but that might be another good lesson. I'll put that in a separate lesson. But usually, the general idea with classical guitar is you have your left foot on a stool and you have your guitar resting on your left leg. That's a great way for a beginner to hold the guitar because it makes a lot of things a lot easier. And if you're ever having a really tough time with something new, try classical position. And once you get it in classical position, often you can go back to something more like a folk style position. I've seen really great players hold their guitars all kinds of different ways. I saw Richard Smith recently, and he has a strap that brings he has a smaller guitar than mine. He has a strap that brings his guitar up quite high, and it's at an angle like this. It's a lot like a classical technique, or a classical position for the guitar, but he's not propping it on his leg. He's got a strap holding it up like this. And I can see why that works really well for his body type. And so just observe really good players And a good sign, I think when somebody has good technique, have you ever had that feeling, wow, they just make it look easy. They look relaxed and they make it look easy. And you can see tension when you just start paying attention and raise your awareness. Does that person look relaxed? And then keep in mind that the exact position, the exact hand shape for that person might be different for you, but when you observe different positions, it's worth trying and seeing how you feel. And I want to mention something that Kenny Werner said in his book, Effortless Mastery. He talks a lot about relaxation, and he said when your body is relaxed, your body will tell you what to do for your, technique that's best for you. I thought that was really neat, and it's helped me a lot. Before I leave you, I wanted to give you, I did give you the new, I almost forgot. We did do our new motion for today is this chromatic scale, which we did a little while ago, trying to get it while the glare's not there. Yeah. So that's our new motion for today. And we will keep building on this. I'm going to record a lesson about pinky, which will also be very good for your pinky. It's going to be called How to Strengthen Pinky. Let's see. How to Make Pinky Strong and Get Ready to Play bar chords. So if you're working on pinky, or if pinky's giving you trouble with this exercise, in the other lesson I just mentioned, how to make pinky strong and get ready for bar chords, we're going to take every first position chord and I'm going to show you how you can use pinky in each of those chords, just to make sure your pinky gets a chance to participate. And so look for that one too, and just work on awareness, maybe take a video of yourself and observe other people playing, and we'll just raise our awareness. And that helps a lot with figuring out the technique that's best for you, because you live in your body, and I think you need to become your own expert at what works for you. And look for help and advice from other people, but don't take it too seriously if somebody says you need to hold your guitar this way, or your thumb here or there. It's different for everybody, and we'll talk more about that later. So good luck with that, and let me know how it goes. I'll look forward to seeing you again. Bye.